For the sake of expediency, we're going to spare you guys unboxing a couple of network-attached storage devices from Seagate, but this is their new business storage line. We've got a couple of different configs here. So the first one is their 2-bay, 4 terabyte with drives one, and that one makes sense to me. In the past, whenever you've bought a NAS from a hard drive company, whether it's Seagate or one of their competitors or whoever else, it's always had drives in it. Seagate is now offering their NASs without drives. So this one right here is a 4-bay NAS that looks to go up against the likes of guys like Synology or QNAP or any other standalone NAS manufacturer. So what does Seagate bring to the market that they think is so special? I'll tell you what, and actually I'm kind of sold. Now with that said, these are not necessarily priced at consumer price points because they do have some business grade features, but they're also not as high priced as some of the business grade NASs I've encountered in the past, which is kind of cool. So check this out. It includes their Black Armor software, so you can discover your NAS on Windows and Mac. You can do incremental or full system backups. In Windows, you can also restore systems one by one. Incremental is really, really cool. It means you don't have to use up all your drive space for a couple of backups. Okay, hot swappable SATA 2/3 drive bays, USM slot. This is really cool. Check this out. So this is intended for offsite backup. So you can use your NAS as a convenient way to put data on something that can be archived easily or sent somewhere else. So check this out. This is one of Seagate's, I forget what this one is. I've lost track of what the branding is. This is an older free agent GoFlex, although it works with their newer stuff as well, where it's just a nice little slimline 2.5-inch portable drive. You can get them in much higher capacities now. This one's 500 gig. You slot that in there, you transfer some data, you throw a label on it, you archive it on a shelf, or you put it in a safety deposit box or wherever else you want to keep it safe. Very, very cool little thing to include. That's on both the 2-bay and the 4-bay, and it works just like that. You've also got 2 USB 3 ports for additional expansion. So there's a USB 3 in the front, just in case you're keeping it, like, I don't know, on a desk or something or whatever else. And then they each have an additional USB 3 port in the back next to, haha, check this out, dual Gigabit Ethernet ports. Now that's not to say that you're going to get 2 gigabit per second transfer speeds out of it, but it's redundancy. So if one of these interfaces fails outright, this thing will still work, which is very, very cool. Your power in as well as a hard reset button are also located on the back of both of these devices. So there's those USB 3 ports I was going to talk about. The 2-bay has a 40 mil fan, whereas the 3-bay has what appears to be a 92 millimeter fan that you can pull out and change if you want, I suppose. I usually end up doing that with NASs just because they ship with fans that are unnecessarily powerful, and I usually put like a super silent low RPM fan in them. They both include the exact same set of accessories, so you've got a power cable, a Gigabit Ethernet cable, and your warranty information, as well as a software disk that includes all that backup stuff that I talked about before. So your warranty is 3 years on these products. Let's go ahead and start getting into what makes them even more special than that. Full support for all of your usual servers, so you can run an FTP server off of it. You can run an HTTP server off of it. Whoa! iSCSI targeting. Very cool. The last time I looked into this, it was $450 to $500 for a bare enclosure that worked with iSCSI, but wasn't particularly fast. So I'm really excited to see what Seagate's got going on here, because that's a very competitive feature to have, even for like a higher priced product. So very, very cool. Very few NASs support iSCSI in the sort of smaller and more inexpensive sort of, I mean, okay, normally you're looking at like a Netgear, like rack mount or something like that. Multiple volume management, that's cool. So you can set up different storage volumes. You can also, if you don't want to set up different storage volumes, you can do quota and share management for different users, as well as volume level encryption. So you can manage who can see what, who has access to what, who's allowed to use how much of the space and all that good stuff. It supports Active Directory, as well as RAID 0, 1, 5, 10, or SPAN. And I would really recommend, guys, with a server like this, a 4-bay server, where you're keeping presumably business important data of some sort, do not run a single drive. Do not run RAID 0. It shouldn't even support RAID 0. I wish the manufacturers would just stop including support for RAID 0 because it's terrible. Run RAID 5 or RAID 10, where you're using either one drive or half of your drives for redundancy, just in case something bad happens. So redundancy and offsite backup is what storage is all about. So I just showed you the whole process of installing a drive. I wanted to check out what drive Seagate's including with these enclosures. So this one right here has two 2 terabyte drives in it. So they're using their Barracuda series drives. I wouldn't have minded seeing them including their Constellation series drives, which are their they're more sort of enterprise grade storage drives, but I guess if the intention is for the user to be using RAID anyway, personally in my own NAS that I use for all of our Tech Tips data, I am using Barracuda drives, so I can say all I want, well, you should be using enterprise grade drives, but I actually don't, and I haven't really had any issues with that either, so there you go. What else they got going on here? Local backup. Oh yeah, this is so cool. NAS to NAS backup is supported. So you can go USM/USB device to NAS. So you can kind of go, okay, I want to back up this thing. For example, this right here is our Steam game drive. So we have all of our Steam games for our test benches on here. So if I'm like, oh, it'd be a real pain if that drive died and I lost it, I could do an incremental backup just by popping it in here and configuring it every once in a while. Very, very cool stuff. The 4-bay has a little LCD in the front, by the way, in case you guys were wondering. The 2-bay doesn't have that. You can also have multiple NASs and backup from NAS to NAS. That's something that many NASs do not support, or the functionality is so hidden and so broken that it's basically not usable anyway. So that's very, very cool. There's a one-touch transfer button on the front. There's that one, and network NAS to NAS backup. Yes, very, 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 oh, cool. That kind of stuff just gets me geeking out. Apple Time Machine software is supported, which is cool, as well as bare metal restore over network. That's another huge one. Being able to do a bare metal restore basically means that you can circumvent a lot of the inconvenient stuff that comes along with backing up machines sort of normally with respect to licensing and stuff like that. So it's a very convenient way to be able to do backups. This is another thing too. I mean, you could consider an iTunes server or a DLNA server to be more of a consumer grade feature, but I personally don't, because if you were to deploy, probably not something like this, but probably something like this one, where you throw 2 drives in here in RAID 1 so that you have redundancy just in case something dies, you put that in like a store or something, you use the iTunes server or the DLNA server to power all of your digital signage off of this one little box. That's what I see that kind of functionality being for. So it does support both iTunes and DLNA, so you can stream to supported devices. I don't think I ever showed the front of them up close. So there's activity LEDs, USB 3, power button, and then same thing on the other one. I wish the front wasn't glossy, but I guess it's not the end of the world. And then on the other one, same thing, power, activity LEDs, and then your front USB 3. I think that pretty much, oh yeah, Seagate Private Cloud. So you can create your own sort of cloud. I mean, really that's what a NAS is, creating your own network storage so that you can have all of your storage in one place. I'm a huge advocate of network attached storage. I think everyone should be using it for pretty much everything, but their Seagate Private Cloud is not just the ability to kind of set up an FTP server for yourself and kludge it together, but also the ability to use their smartphone app to access your little private cloud wherever you are. So there you go. Keep all your data somewhere, keep it safe, and then preferably keep it somewhere else as well. Thanks for checking out this unboxing and first look at Seagate's business NASs. Don't forget to subscribe to Linus Tech Tips for more unboxings, reviews, and other computer videos.